All right, guys, first target on the board, and we got a piece of lead. Looks like maybe a piece of camp lead of some sort. Thought it was a musket ball. We'll keep going. And there's a big musket ball we're looking for. It's a little bit roached on that side, but a nice one. I love finding old musket balls. Maybe a piece of brass will pop up here pretty soon. Well, check it out, guys. There's brass. That is another musket part, and I think it's part of a trigger guard. I think, but you know, there's a question, why all these broken musket parts laying around here? And a couple different answers, but the one that I think is most likely is that these were stripped off of trade muskets by the Native Americans. That would have been shiny gold color right there, and used as pendants or jewelry. The other option is that the colonial army destroyed a bunch of muskets when they came through, but I just don't think that's as likely. There we go. That's a new piece for me. Not totally sure where that would have gone on a musket, but I'm going to have fun researching it anyway. It's very flat on this side. The other pieces were a little bit curved, the thumb plates, which would have gone on top of the stock, which was curved anyway. This is thicker, flat on one side, and tapered, but attached right there. So very cool. Man, I feel like I'm getting a musket one piece at a time. All right, about 3 or 4 feet away, we got us another musket ball. That one's a little smaller caliber. Well, I say that. That one may be cut in half. Yeah. Pretty clean cut anyway. We'll take it. All right, well, give me a real good signal, which sometimes in the old Equinox iron does that, but nice square nail. I'll take that. I don't think there's anything else left in there. If there is, I'll show you. All right, you people that know a lot about colonial stuff, what is this? Oh, kind of looks like a furniture tack or something like that. But on this side, it's got those two little broken off jobs right there. So I don't know if that once had like a loop on the back of it or what the deal is. I want to find a button with something on it so bad I can't see straight, so I'm seeing things. But I think it's just some sort of a, maybe for leather saddle or something like that. I'm not sure. But if you happen to know, let me know. All right, it's been a little while. Signals are not that plentiful around here. There was a good one there. That is another musket ball. It's amazing how those things get all chewed up like that. You gotta wonder what happened to them. Lots of theories, but I'll take it. I want to check this one out, guys. Look at that. Boy, they pounded that one flat, didn't they? Now, the 2 or 3 others that I got are much smaller and definitely much more defined. I can't call that a discoidal for sure, but that was intentionally hammered out. And you won't see modern hammer marks in that. The discoidals were used for some sort of game by the women, but I read something the other day that I wanted to pass on to you guys, especially you guys that are detecting or artifact hunting. In excavating mounds in this area, they found a lot of peach pits. And what they found, some of those peach pits were painted or charred black on one side and white on another. Those also were used for some sort of game. Now, I know that I have just run across peach pits in my plugs before and always discounted them, and it's hard to say how old they really are, but you ever see a peach pit in your hole, you might give it a closer look. If it looks to have two separate colors on it, you got yourself a pretty cool little Native American artifact there. And that ain't one. Although, I was hoping that would be one. But I don't think it is. Okay, on to the next. Alright guys, that is the end of a hunt that I have waited far too long for. And that's what I love about this spot. It's all so old. Now, that I don't know about. It just looked interesting. I decided to hang on to that, but I can't say how old that really is. Everything else, though, definitely got the age to it. I didn't get this one on film. Just a piece of copper. And it's got some blade scoring marks there. Don't know. I have an idea what that might be, but everybody would laugh at me if I told you, so I ain't gonna tell you. I know one thing for sure. It's a scrap of copper. But it may have been used in trade, or it could just be a scrap of copper. And musket balls and lead, and my one artifact. Very cool. And I'm gonna find out where this went. I have seen it before. You know what I love about this site? This stuff, in a lot of situations, a lot of times diggers, you look at this stuff and it just ends up in a junk pile. But when the site is really, really pure and you've identified the history, all of a sudden this stuff starts to tell a story. So I lied. I'm going to tell you about this little copper piece because I think I'm right on it. I want you to take a close look. See the knife marks right there? And right there? Well, that tells me this was intentionally cut to that width. Some research told me that copper sheeting was a very popular Native American trade item. They were handy with copper. They had copper, that they could get locally, especially the northern tribes had a lot more copper, and they were quite skilled at working it. But these copper sheets, when the Europeans did show up, they were a popular trade item. So this potentially, this is what I thought a little bit after I dug it, may have been intended to roll into a bead of some sort, or be fashioned into some copper tinkler or any number of things. But I do not think that it's just a piece of copper flashing. Now, I have dug tons of copper flashing at old home sites, and I would never, posit the idea that, oh, this is something, owned by the Native Americans. But at this site, yeah, I'm willing to take that stand. It's that pure of a site. The two thumb plates representing two separate muskets, and this has taken 3 years to come together. And this is starting to tell a pretty cool story. So I knew it was a trigger guard when I dug it. This is probably the first piece that I dug of that. This piece, maybe the same hunt or maybe a year later. And so, okay, I've got a musket. I believe it belonged to the Native Americans. That's what I'm thinking at the time. This is probably a trade musket. That's as far as I got. But after digging this piece and seeing the design on the end and a little bit more study, I think I can narrow it down even more. I think this is a French trade musket, and that would put this from like the 1730s to the 1760s, 70s even. So the reason why I believe it's French is the design. not only of, you know, this end here, but also these. They are very, that design's very common, that shape on French trade muskets. Also, you know, guns like the Brown Bess used by the, you know, Continental Army, the trigger guards were much bulkier, and they had these pins at several points that embedded itself into the stock. That's what held the trigger guard on. It's just much more bulky, much more stable. But for Native American trade guns, especially the ones made by the French, these trigger guards were known for being held on by two pins, one there and one there. And so that's what leads me to believe that this is from a French trade musket. And you can tell I've got one more piece to find to finish this off. I was thinking I might have had it already. This probably came from 2 years ago, but this remains a mystery piece. I do believe it is part of something like this because it has the same characteristic of being completely flat on one side and domed on the other. And that is true of all these pieces. And it just looks the same. So maybe off of a second gun. So maybe some muskets were destroyed at this site. I just find it hard to believe people are just going around busting their muskets up like that. So I don't know. That's speculation, but I like to find more of this for sure. And there's the other cool stuff that's come off of there. That's probably the coolest. Pommel to a colonial era sword. That's my favorite piece of this year. That was so exciting, and that gold gilt still showing through there. Crotal bell, which is a trade item. And again, if you know what that is, let me know. If I had one pin in the middle, I would say just, you know, like a tack for leather or something, but I don't know. I've never seen one with the double pins there. All right, guys. I love when history comes together. All right, guys, man, it's been a while since we went detecting, but I'm doing a little artifact hunting and detecting. Believe it or not, look at that. Surface find. Looks like an old wheat penny, maybe. Let's see what we got here. 1941. That's my favorite year in history. I don't know why. Maybe it has start of World War II. I know it's not a time to be celebrated, but most fascinating time in history for me, I think. Very cool. All right, guys, I have been paying attention to this washed area of the garden. And every time it rains, it gets washed out and it gets repaired. And that's all right because it's turning up new material. And I think it finally paid off. I think I'm looking at a broken but fairly decent point there. And let's take a look together. This is always the fun part. First touch in hundreds of years. Oh, look at there. Looky there. That would have been a beauty, but you know what? I'm not picky at this place. I'll take one that's got a little missing tip for sure. Got a nice shape to it. Very cool. All right, I'm gonna keep looking. All right, on a little bit of Native American too. Look at that. That is solid quartz, nice polished quartz hammerstone, I guess. Super polished. Right over next to it, looks like the broken base to a blade. We'll keep going. All right, got Brandon here, and he has what's either a faker or possibly a rhyolite point. Snapped off. Oh, look how thin that is. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I think it's snapped off.
Is it quartz or can you tell? Lick it.
I don't want to get the coronavirus from
Gosh,
it.
look how thin that is.
Yeah.
Show me the kill shot on that thing.
The kill shot?
Yes, there you go. That is super thin. We'll
to
clean
wash
that
it
up.
up.
If it's a rhyolite, that's the second or third piece that's come out of here, and that's trade material. That's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Here, it's broken, but look at the shoulders on that thing.
Is it broken?
Yeah, the tip's
Oh,
missing.
it's
It's 95% there. That is really cool. Gonna have some cool colors in it too. But I don't think I've seen one with shoulders quite that defined on it. I don't know what to call that. Maybe a Mora Mountain Type 2? Don't know, but I will take it. All right, Brandon just got a nice base. Look at that. I don't know if that's ground base or not, but it's cool looking. Love to see that whole sucker. All right, there's the wrap up. It was not as good as what I was hoping for, but we found some cool stuff. I like the base of that point or blade. Never seen one indented like that. I know there's a term for it, but I can't remember what that term is. Do you know?
I've heard it called a...
It's not bifurcated, is it?
Turkey something tail base.
Turkey tail?
I don't think that's the Latin term for it.
Yeah, not, yeah. We're shooting in the dark here. Found a nice tip and another nice tip off of a blade, which I guess that's not working. I guess maybe a plow hit that. And I got a little piece of a blade and that one point. And that's actually a .2, even though Brandon doesn't believe me. It is.
You see that? Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
I have Brandon's seal of approval. It is a point. That's it for the day. I'll be back with something else old and interesting.